In a string of player profiles that I've done lately, sadly we've seen several of them falter completely in their 10 or 11-year run after their start of the FM23 season. Now, will Paul Wanner be any different? Born in Austria in 2005, Paul Wanner, it actually says, when I've looked at him on Wikipedia, says his first club, his youth career was FV Ravensburg. So, not showing here, however, but it did say he's moved into Bayern, basically the Bayern Munich youth system. So I don't know if Ravensburg leads into the Bayern youth system or what, but this is how he looks in 2022 when you start your first save with FM23. You can see he's already made in 2 years with Bayern Munich. He's made 4 appearances so far and is touted as one of those wonder kids that will shine at some point in the very near future. Compared to a lot of the other wonder kids we've already seen, his numbers don't look all that stellar. A lot of 12s and 13s, a couple of 14s, 15 for technique is fantastic, 16 flair is always fantastic. But physicals, you could see 14s for the most part, pace, natural fitness, and acceleration. Don't get me wrong, at 16 years old, his stats look phenomenal, and hopefully you would expect him only to grow massively from here. However, we've seen in the past where things like injuries or just coaching or game time, things of all these different types of natures have hampered their growth spurts. So, how does 16-year-old Paul Wanner fare in the next 10 to 11 years? Let's find out. As you can see, he has definitely grown. It's funny how a lot of the numbers stay in the white, but a lot of the others have gone green. Agility, anticipation, composure, decisions, flair's grown 1. Off the ball, vision, and technique are all fantastic growth spurts. He's 28 years old right now at the 245K per week mark, now rated at 53 to 160 million. He has jumped around just a little bit. Career stats, as you can see, he just went through Bayern, did a couple of years. Oh, that's Bayern 2. So he really wasn't around the first team too much. Loaned to Napoli for 475K, did a fairly good job with them. Sold finally the next year at 18.25 million, and then Real Madrid just bumped it up like crazy to 71, and now he's probably not a first team regular, I would assume, with 23 appearances, unless he's got some injury issues. But La Liga Santander, 11 starts, 12 off the bench, so he's kind of used here and there. I can only imagine, at 28 years old, we'll see. I wish I could see how he progresses in the next couple of years, because that would be interesting. Definitely not at the levels of some of the players that I've seen, the wonder kids that I've seen so far from this year. However, definitely a lot better than some of the others. If we look at the injuries, nothing major except for one in 2028, torn abdominal muscle out for 2 months, and a broken ankle in 2030, so 2 years later for 2 months. Everything else, though, is slight. You can see some wear and tear. So overall, injury proneness, not too much. He'll get the slight issue here and there, but it doesn't look like, unless he's due for another major injury anytime soon, does not look like he's all that injury prone. Looks like he could be a fantastic squad addition anywhere, in that period, up until 2030, where, even Napoli in 2030-31 got him for 18.25 million, and he's just not being used in the Bayern, the main Bayern setup. So you might be able to have a lot of time to get him for fairly cheap, I would imagine. And as I always say, because they can be hampered in so many different ways, injuries, game time, things like that, if you took him on, 2024 or thereabouts, you might be able to get a lot out of him. You can put him in a youth system where he's going to be playing a lot, put him as a reserve player on your bench, then first team. He could be doing a heck of a lot better in your squad before Real Madrid swoops in at 28 years old for $71 million or 71 million pounds. So I would love to know how your setup has gone with Paul Wanner. And you can see he is now Austrian, so he has switched allegiances. Or maybe just said German because he was so young. I don't know. But if we look at his career milestones, he actually doesn't have a lot. Bundesliga champions with Bayern. Bundesliga champions with Bayern. First international cap. There we go. 2028 in Austria. So he did go to Austria, back to his home, his birthland. Named in Bayern Munich's seasonal best 11 in 29. Named in Napoli's seasonal best 11 in 30 and 31. Named in that was Austria, sorry. Austria's season in 31, 32, 33, 34. Named in Real Madrid's seasonal best 11. So he is showing his promise finally. But I think growth-wise, some of these numbers would never have grown at all anyway. But I think mentally, he's a fantastic midfielder. But some of his technicals, I would say, as an attacking midfielder, as someone who's supposed to be putting the ball in the net or around the net, dribbling of 13 is a little low for my taste. First touch and passing of 14s, they're good, don't get me wrong. However, at a Real Madrid level, I would expect a little bit more. Granted, like we've seen, he's not really starting all that much. So maybe he's starting the cup games, the lower games. He's not possibly starting the Barcelona game unless there are other injuries in the squad. Biography-wise, and this is where my view of this could be completely shaded from everyone else's, but Paul Wanner is truly one of the world's soccer's global superstars. Made his senior debut in the Bundesliga playing for Bayern against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Not much to it, though, until he joined Real Madrid, and has currently made 23 appearances and scored 5 league goals, lifting the Supercopa de España in 2034, 4 winners' medals for him, Supercopa de España for Real Madrid, Bundesliga Bayern Munich for 3 years. Don't get me wrong, he's got a good career, and he still has quite a career ahead of him. He's got another at least 5 years or so, but shown as a regular starter, I'm kind of wondering if that was bumped up, or again, if something just happened and he's 12 appearances off the bench. As for his contract, you can see again that he's on $245,000 per week until 2037. He just signed it last season. Quite a minimum release fee clause. So £214 million is what you can buy him for if you would like. Tactically, he has been mostly used in this AMC role for 22 matches for club. AMR is in 2. I would use him all over the pitch, to be honest. 9 goals in that AMC role, 3 assists, 7.25 average rating, 7.20 on the right side. Internationally, it looks like he is kind of mostly in the central midfield, but all along that line, and still doing fantastic. 11 games on the right with 7.57. Use him on that. I mean, I don't know why Bayern's not using him more elsewhere and giving him more game time. He is a regular starter, so that's interesting to see. Anyway, that is the quick view of Paul Wanner. Let's take a look at his stats, actually. You can see match 1, 31 out of 44. He didn't have a bad game, apparently. Not a penalty taker. Minutes on pitch per goal, 251. Minutes on the pitch per assist, 564. So kind of around what we've been seeing with some of the higher end Wonder Kids. Again, I'm not particularly sure I would call him a world beater right now. Stats are great, but I don't know if I would pay. I mean, I guess depending on the rest of the groupings in 2034, 53 to 160. Usually in my saves, they want to go higher than that. I don't think I would be paying that much, but hopefully you can get him cheap and just see his career flourish in your own saves, in your own club, on your bench, or in your first 11. So anyway, that does it for me, Paul Wanner, and the Football Manager blog channel. Thank you as always for watching. I am 70FM. Take care and enjoy.